Valve has taken a firm stance on SnapTap, and their answer is no. And we don't just get this patch note, but also a cleverly titled news article communicating their reasons for speaking up about it and for cracking down on the feature. SnapTap allows for instant toggling of keyboard presses. In games with rapid movement, this can look hilarious! But in CS2, where this isn't the case, it will still let you immediately switch your input between moving left and moving to the right, which should in theory help you reach zero movement speed slightly sooner, and to better learn the precise moment between the two where you can fire with optimal accuracy, since you're only having to coordinate one keyboard button press instead of two. Valve sees SnapTap as a form of automation that's being used to bypass the core skills that Counter-Strike is all about, so it's no longer allowed, and Valve says that suspected users of this feature will be kicked from matches. And they've limited keybinds to a single movement or attack action, to make it more difficult to accidentally create a script that behaves like this in-game. I actually got to try SnapTap out a few months ago. I wasn't told what it was, I was just sat in front of a computer with the feature enabled, and was told to see if I could feel the difference. And I couldn't. Not even when I was told it was specifically to do with the movement keys improving my shooting accuracy. It was only after a lengthy explanation of how SnapTap actually works, by prioritising new button presses in conjunction with super sensitive analog keys, that I was like, oh, okay, and could begin to understand how it might improve my play. But in those minutes of testing, I felt like I was battling against years of learned key pressing behaviour, and was ultimately unable to feel it in blind tests as they quietly toggled the feature on and off, and then off but with analog presses on. So I don't want to dismiss a feature like this when clearly other people feel like they're benefiting from it, but I did figure it would be something that would take a lengthy learning period before the benefits would be fully appreciated. So I've just waited to see what happens. In this time, an increasing number of pros have started using this feature, and it's reached the point where Valve is like, okay, there's something going on here that doesn't suit the spirit of the game, so we're just going to level the playing field by banning it completely. Though how they're going to detect and to enforce this waits to be seen. Or does it? Because this update also mentions the release of Vacnet 3.0. Now people have got very excited about Vacnet 3.0, notably the use of a 3, which Valve is infamous for being unable to count 2. Or should I say, count 3? So this begs the question of when Vacnet 2.0 actually came out. But then maybe it doesn't even matter what it's called, since they're not sharing specifics of what has actually changed with each release. I suppose a named release like this is a nice way of informing the community that it is being worked on and is still receiving updates. Because I do see a lot of people complaining that Valve has neglected VAC recently. So I wonder if Valve's going to go down that Chrome or Firefox naming scheme, and just to add another 1 to the number with every update from now on. Just so you're aware, these days we're browsing the internet on Chrome 128 and on Firefox 129. So clearly Firefox is better. I hate that I've been unable to feel something that's seemingly as revolutionary as SnapTap is, and I suspect a lot of players now hate Valve for making their expensive new keyboard purchases obsolete. But I don't think this is even really about SnapTap. It's more about the precedent that allowing it would set. Saying OK to SnapTap would open the floodgates to hardware makers adding increasingly advanced script-like features to their peripherals, and all this external stuff would merely distract from what playing a game should be about. Because there's already a huge amount of skill to playing Counter-Strike. Does it also need that other side where you're setting up external things like elaborate config files and advanced hardware features? Clearly, Valve doesn't think so. Their news post highlights that they got around the jump throw scripting issue a while back by simply making it the way that jump throws worked by default, which to me was a very tidy and Valve-like solution, where they acknowledged the benefits that jump scripting provided, not just to the game's player base, but also to the game's skill ceiling. Evidently, they didn't deem SnapTap as beneficial.